You know.
It's my homie Mark.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Nikki. This is Sam.
Hi.
Oh my God, that's Paris Hilton. It's Kirsten Dunst. I just think we wanted to be a part of like the lifestyle that everybody kind of wants.
Hey, I can be the answer. I'm ready to dance when the vampire.
Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Ben Mankiewicz, Alonso Duralde, Christy Lemire. I think I said Duraldo.
You would be the first. You would be the first.
Alonso Duralde.
Zaldamo.
My dog is here and he's barking.
Oh, nice
On
timing.
On cue.
Wow.
Bob
Wonder
Quiet.
Dog.
Get him a sad card.
Okay, so
The Bling Ring.
the Bling Ring. I was in the Lifetime Bling Ring, so I feel much closer to this project than the rest of you.
Did you recuse yourself
yeah.
entirely?
I worked with Jennifer Grey, whatever. All right, anyway.
Jen, right?
Jen,
to
Jen.
you now.
To her friends.
Jen and Clark.
Tell us about the film, Chris.
Okay, so this is based on these teenagers from the Valley who would Google. They go on the Googles and find out where celebrities live and go break into their homes when they were not around. This includes Paris Hilton and Rachel Bilson and Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
I can say that name. And eventually they get caught. It's very, very salacious. And Sofia Coppola directed this. Take a
Where
look.
does she live? Do you think we could find a way in?
I don't know.
Come on, let's go to Paris's. I want to rob.
I was in the 212 on the Uptown and you know what's up or don't you?
my god!
Police are investigating the connection of the Hollywood Hills burglaries.
So the Sofia Coppola-ishness of it all, I feel, is a great detriment to the material.
And what do you see as the Sofia Coppola?
The knowing detachment, and I'm a huge fan, and I think it works really well in a film like Somewhere, where it is observant of fame and the unglamorous elements of it, and yet there is some sense of melancholy and substance to it. Here, these people are so vapid. There's such emptiness to them, and they're essentially interchangeable, that the fact that she's detached from them only makes them seem emptier. It makes the whole film seem empty as a result.
I kept thinking that it was going to be more of her kind of films in terms of being about, she's very good at, and I think my theory is, she's spent much of her childhood stuck in hotels, which is why all of her movies are about people that are like enclosed in spaces, whether it's Marie Antoinette or the Virgin Suicides or whatever. But I didn't feel like she had anything particularly interesting to say about these people. Totally. This is material that I think really lends itself to being satirical or being observational, and I understood that she wasn't going to go in that direction because that's not her thing. But she doesn't do anything else. It kind of felt like, well, this happened and this happened, this and this happened.
Totally.
But there's no characterization. There's no contextualization of what this sort of empty pursuit of materialism or fame or whatever means. It just kind of all happens and then the movie's over.
Right, she said she didn't want to judge them, and I appreciate that, but she also doesn't provide any insight into them either.
This is a movie about uncomplicated, uninteresting people, and who do silly, stupid things and rob from people who we also find pretty uninteresting.
Except, they do shoot at Paris Hilton's actual house. That's her actual club room.
Paris has a cameo, does she not?
Yeah, she does.
yeah.
But then she let them shoot in her house. Like, that's her
That's
stripper
cool, I didn't
pole.
know
in
that.
her-
Well,
in her-
I would hate to
her-
think
her
they'd have to
club room.
rebuild that, so fine.
The shoe room.
Yeah.
But I thought Man of Steel was incredibly repetitive at points. This was unbelievably repetitive.
Yes.
I mean, this is just the same scene where these kids go and rob famous people. They shot one of them a little differently when they
that
robbed
one I liked a lot. There's one where they do it all in a wide shot, one long take, where once we know their MO, because we've seen them do it 8 times by this point, they break in, they run around the house, they get stuff, and they go out again. And it's one of those LA houses that's more window than wall, those boxes. So that's a cool moment. But you're right, up till that point, it's just like they do it and they do it again, they do it
we
again.
don't learn any. I mean, did you feel like you knew anything more about something about these kids an hour and 17 minutes into it that you did in minute 7?
They're not remorseful. They didn't learn anything from it.
Yeah,
They're not worse or better.
Right. I mean, you get this whole thing with Emma Watson's character where she's, Leslie Mann is her sort of dippy mother who's homeschooling them in the secret, and clearly she has ambitions that she wants to be a model or actress or whatever, but they don't really dig into any of that very much. They don't find the humor in it. They don't find the pathos in it. They don't find anything. It's just...
It's not even that fun.
No, it's just mentioned. It's like everything in this movie feels like it's just mentioned.
That's right. Everything.
But to no further purpose.
It feels like it's being told by an 8-year-old, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened.
I did not see the Lifetime version, but I can only imagine that it
Perhaps,
must have been...
you gleaned more insight.
So the Lifetime version was so The Bling Ring.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, totally. With Jennifer Grey, and it's told through the mother of the boy. Who played the boy in this? What's his name?
Israel something.
Oh, I guess. Again, it's just not interesting.
Professionals.
Like, I mean, at one point, like, I mean, obviously, I guess, was he gay? I guess.
It's mentioned, you know, he talks about a guy that he messed around with,
Yeah,
and he puts on high heels. That's it. That's the extent of
And he
everything.
makes no effort to sleep with all of these women who, if he weren't gay, you would think sleep with him, except they're so dead to the world that maybe they're not even interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we see one of the girls go to bed with a guy, and there's
That's
some
Vera,
with a gun.
That's Vera Farmiga's sister.
Right, Taissa Farmiga. And we see, you know, and yeah, there's some making out in clubs. Yeah, the guy gets no action. He mentions having messed around with a guy whose house they break into, and that's, you know.
You're right, the first house they break into, I guess he'd messed around with that guy. That's right, I forgot about that. So,
We should mention really fast also.
but in the original Bling Ring with Jennifer Grey, so it was
yes.
she played the guy's mother. They changed the names and all, and it's the longest scene I've ever. Usually, if I'm in anything, I play a reporter and I go, you know, Mr. Mayor, what about the charges? Like that's the kind of line I've had 1,000 times. But here, I played essentially my brother, like essentially a Dateline correspondent, and I had about 9 lines or 7 or 8 lines in a back and forth with Jennifer Grey, and I just remember quickly because we were rehearsing, reading lines in the makeup room, and she didn't know her lines. And then like an hour and a half later, I go to set and in the house where they're shooting it, and she's in makeup and she's in it, and she knew, of course, all her lines, and she delivered them like it blew me away. It was like I was next to Meryl Streep. I'm like, oh my God, you're a professional actress. She was crying. It was fantastic. I couldn't even do it. I was so blown away. I was like, oh, you're so good.
So you're saying she wiped you off the screen, basically.
She may not have been challenged in that scene by her.
Did you yes and her? I mean,
I literally, and I had like because it was okay to have, because I was a reporter, I could have a notepad, so I just wrote my lines on there. Like totally cheated. And she was super nice too, by the way.
We should mention really fast, in the same week we have Emma Watson.
And my version is the Bling Ring on Lifetime is horrible.
I look forward to watching it. Emma Watson this week in 2 different movies in which she plays a character that is totally different from Hermione Granger. She's totally upending and obliterating the good girl image. And both are films about Hollywood and fame. Which one of them has more insight?
Oh God, this is the end.
This is the end.
Yes,
Absolutely, this is the end.
Definitely, this is the end.
Never thought I'd say that, but
This is not the place for it, but we'll do it anyway for 30 seconds. Did you have an objection to the "this is the end" rape conversation about who?
That was hilarious. That's how you do a smart rape joke. You make it about the men and not about the woman.
I agree. We didn't mention that was my favorite moment.
And that's
in
Emma
This Is the End.
Watson.
That's Emma Watson, who's also in the Bling Ring.
and then she totally conquers that scene and conquers all of them.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
female empowerment. All right,
I
so
gave
go ahead.
the Bling Ring a 2.5. I just it's not worth anybody's time.
I gave it a 5. Apparently, I don't know why.
I gave it a 5.6. There are some skillful moments, like where Taissa Farmiga is waving the gun around, or when one of these
that was
dipshits
good.
gets drunk and is driving. You know, there's some real tension going on. But for the most part, this is not
Right,
about
but one of those dipshits when they're driving, like that happened 3 times.
Oh,
Like,
with the
yeah.
coke and the rap music. Also,
Yeah.
the last film that Harris Savita shot.
It
And it
is.
was
Oh, that's
dedicated to him. So that
Yes.
was a really cool shot where they're pushing it really slowly outside the glass box house. The
The
masterwork of
best
the
part of the
master
movie.
DP,
Thank
Harris
you, Harris
Savitas.
Savitas.
All right,
4.4 for Bling Ring.
where is it in tomatoes?
It's at
61.
61%, which surprises me enormously.